Skinny guys, stop bulking with the wrong foods. If you're eating stuff like this and this, you're making your bulk 10 times harder than it needs to be. Today, I'm ranking every major bulking food from F tier to S tier so you finally know exactly what to eat to gain weight consistently. Number one, gentlemen, it's going to be eggs. Eggs, absolutely super versatile, high in protein, high in a bunch of different micronutrients. You can cook it with butter. You can make a 5-egg omelet. You can put some cheese, you can put a bunch of different things. And overall, this is a great food when it comes to overall protein and also stacking calories. Number two, gentlemen, is going to be tuna. Very high in protein, but very low in terms of calories. This is very filling. So when you're having like 300 grams of tuna, that's less than 300 calories. So if you're not mixing this with a source of fats, olive oil, avocado, it's going to make things very difficult to hit that daily calorie surplus at the end of the day. Moving on to number three is going to be bananas. Bananas at B. Reason why is you can put this in your Greek yogurt bowl. You can also put peanut butter with it. Goes down very, very well. You can easily put this in your shakes to add some calories as well. In my opinion, one of the best fruits when it comes to bulking up. Now, just a disclaimer, when I'm ranking these foods, I'm covering mostly their calorie content and their satiety as well. I'm not diving deeper on whether this food is necessarily healthy or not. This is mostly whole foods. So I'm not saying one of these foods are good or bad. I'm just saying when it comes to bulking and getting the calories in, which ones are the most efficient. Moving to number four, we've got lean steak. So this is your filet mignon. Who doesn't like a nice filet? Now, the problem with this is that it's also very filling, especially if you don't have a lot of fat on the filet. We're looking at roughly 120 calories per 100 gram. So when it comes to meat, I always tend to go for the higher fat meat, especially if you struggle to get the calories in. Same when it comes to number five, ground beef. I'll put it as a B. Reason why is that you don't have to chew it as much. Goes down a bit better. Same thing here. We're looking at roughly 120 calories per 100 gram. It's just easier to go down because it can soak up some butter. It can mix very well with rice. So it's going to level B for me. Number six is going to be salad. I'm going to put this as an F. Guys think eating healthy is just naturally going to help them grow and take their physique to the next level. That is simply not the case. You can have 300 grams of salad, which equates to less than 50 calories. You feel like on paper you're eating healthy, then it's good for you. But realistically, based on your goals of bulking up, you're making it 10 times harder than it needs to be. I would recommend this, but only in very small quantities. Number seven, pretty much the same when it comes to broccoli, slightly higher in calories than plain salad. You can add some olive oil, you can cook with some butter, you can do a stir fry, but overall these foods are extremely filling for a very little amount of calories. Number eight, maple syrup. This is pretty much like honey. I put it in the same category. Extremely versatile. You can put it to your shakes. You can put it to your yogurt bowls. Calories stuck up very, very well. I've used this. My clients use it. It's an absolute weapon when it comes to adding calories for little amount of food volume. And the taste is also absolutely incredible. Olive oil. The goal is not to obviously drink olive oil all day, but it is extremely versatile to cook with. I'm not saying to take olive oil shots, but you can add this to your rice. You can add this to your beef, to your eggs, to potentially your salmon. Very easy way to add 150 to 200 calories at the end of the day. And when it comes to food volume, it is extremely low for the amount of calorie density in the oil. Number 10, gentlemen, chicken breast, the infamous, the most famous meal on the planet, chicken, rice, and broccoli. I'm going to put this as a C. The reason why is that it's extremely filling. If you just have plain chicken breast with broccoli and rice, for a lot of guys, it's going to be very difficult to hit that calorie surplus. Same thing for roughly 300 grams of chicken breast. We're looking at 300-ish calories. Sure, it's high in protein. Steak is high in protein. Tuna is high in protein. But when it comes to the calories, I would opt for another part of the chicken, which are number 11, chicken thighs. These are great, super tasty. You can just pop these in the oven. They contain roughly 60 more calories per 100 gram than chicken breast. Because it is higher in fat, it's also a lot tastier. Cook these with butter or olive oil or coconut oil. Pop these in the oven, high in calories. You mix this with some sweet potato or rice. Absolutely perfect. Moving on, gentlemen, to number 12, it's going to be skyr yogurt. So skyr yogurt is literally low-fat yogurt. Reason why? It is extremely filling. You have roughly 60 calories per 100 grams, which is a lot of size, a lot of food volume. So personally, when it comes to dairy, I recommend my clients going for Greek yogurt, slightly higher in fat. This is where you can combine some bananas, some maple syrup, and your Greek yogurt and have this high calorie dense bowl. But it's also something that's repeatable, consistent, and literally takes you 5 minutes to make if you're organized and have all the ingredients at home. Our next food, gentlemen, is going to be ground beef. So this is 80-20 ground beef. This goes down extremely well with some rice or some sweet potatoes. You can also add some avocado. Incredible source of protein, has a bunch of micronutrients in there. So most of the time it's making these simple switches, going from like super lean steaks to ground beef, which is a bit higher in fat, going from plain grilled chicken breast to chicken thighs cooked with butter, or going from tuna to our next friend, which is going to be salmon. When it comes to salmon, I always recommend, if possible, going for wild caught salmon. Generally, it's the alternative between farmed and wild caught that has the least amount of plastics, BPAs. Overall, in my opinion, the healthier option. When it comes to salmon, we're looking at 200 calories per 100 grams weighed raw. So again, if you're having 200 grams, plus you're having some rice, plus you're having a bit of avocado, it can stack up very fast and you can be hitting 800 plus, 900 plus calories quite effortlessly. The infamous, the mass gainer. Reason I'm putting it at a number D is just over time, it's just not sustainable. Are you really going to be having powders like this your entire life, especially if it's not high quality mass gainers? Sure, it can help, but just looking at the overall picture, we want to gain weight, we want to build our bodies, but we also want to do it in the healthier way. And mass gainers, for me, for the typical brand, I would not be taking this very long term. Only sometimes, let's say you're traveling, you're in a rush, you're not going to have access to a lot of food. In those cases, maybe, but I would not be using this as a staple in order to grow. The king, avocado. I love avocados. Super versatile. You can put this with eggs, with beef, with salmon, with chicken. Great way to add some healthy fats to your meals. So for me, literally a no-brainer if you have access to them. Moving on to our next contestant, we are talking about sweet potato. Putting sweet potato at level A. Reason why it goes down super well, these are foods that you can prepare in bulk like 2 to 3 times per week. You pop them in the oven and then you have them ready for the entire week, especially if you're batch cooking and meal prepping for the week. You put everything in a glass Tupperware, bring it to work, super easy. For me, it's definitely at the top in terms of quality whole food carb sources. When it comes to potatoes, I'll put this in the middle between A and B. For me, over time, they fill me up a little bit more than sweet potatoes. I can tend to eat a lot more sweet potatoes than potatoes. I just find that they fill me up a little bit easier than sweet potatoes. Whitefish, I'm putting it as a C. Same thing with chicken, same thing with tuna. For 300 grams, you're looking at less than 250 calories, 300 calories. Super filling if you're not cooking this with something else. These foods cooked in the right way can be high calorie dense, but if you're just having these plain meals, it can make it very difficult. And the problem is that guys will combine one of these protein sources with foods which are very low in calories, like a bunch of vegetables, and then wonder why they can't grow. They have this huge plate of 400 calories. Sure, it's high in protein, but realistically, to hit the 2,900 calories you need, you're making it harder than it needs to be. Next, they're going to be rice cakes, pretty much like popcorn. I'm going to put these at a number D. Very high volume and they fill you up quite easily for the amount of calories contained in it, except if you're adding peanut butter or other different foods to it. Not something I would recommend, especially if you struggle to get the calories in. 8, I'm going to put rice at the same level as sweet potato. Incredible carb source that is super versatile. Again, you can mix this with any of the protein sources mentioned at the top. Super palatable food, super easy to meal prep as well. No brainer. Mixed nuts, I'm putting these at a B. They're very high calorie dense, 600 to 700 calories per 100 gram. Reason I'm putting them there is that this would not be the base of my diet, but just a nice complement or snack to have on the side. But again, you have a bag on hand, you bring it to work, you can easily have 300, 400 calories on you that go down super well. Just remember to try and go for the ones that are not fried in sunflower or other seed oils. Next is going to be oranges. I'll put this here in the middle. Reason why, you can quite easily make juices with it and they go down very well. That is something a lot of guys forget, is that you can also drink your calories. If you can't eat it, you can also drink your calories. Which brings me to one of the hacks we use with my clients, is what we call a whole foods based shake that we design once. You make the recipe once, something that you enjoy. And this can quite easily be over 1,000 calories that you make consistently in the morning. Put it in a stainless steel bottle and you have it with you on the go to bring to work or to your studies. Next is going to be light and low fat cheese. Essentially this option, they literally remove some of the fat in the cheese. Just go for the natural source of cheese, which I'm going to put at a B. Reason why, again, you can put some Parmesan on your cheese, on your eggs. You can also put a little piece of Roquefort on your piece of bread. Plenty of different ways to eat cheese. Personally, I like to go for raw dairy that is not pasteurized, just because it keeps more of the micronutrients inside. Finally, our last two, wild caught sardines with olive oil. I'm putting them as an A. Same as salmon, same as chicken thighs. They're higher fats sources of protein. And finally, peanut butter, I'm putting it at a B. It can be incredible to add calories to your shakes or to your yogurts or to your pieces of toast. It's just that I would not be using this as the primary source of where you're going to be getting your calories. With that being said, if you want to see exactly how I've helped dozens and dozens of guys transform predictably, gain 5 to 10 kgs of muscle, there's a free training down below. And if you've been struggling for multiple months or even years and you know you need help on this, DM me the word coach on Instagram. We'll have a chat, see if it's a fit. If it is, we'll absolutely crush it together. And with that said, buddy, I'm wishing you a great day. Take care.